Hello, how are we? I really wanted to start my video over there so that it's a little bit different from the way I start almost every other reading vlog. He's decided that that's where he wants to be now, so we're just gonna let him live his life. Sleepy little boy. But, hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sam, and I am doing a reading vlog. So, if you're new to the channel, welcome. My friend Daphne over at Being Daphne has a book club. It was just announced. We started in May. I am a co-host for the 3 books that we're reading right now, and therefore, I get to read this big old bad boy. So, for the months May, June, and July, we've been reading the Greenbone Saga. I have to read this whole thing in 6 hours. So I have to read this entire thing to prepare for the live show. I'm very excited. I have some thoughts. We'll get to the thoughts. But yeah, this is going to be a little bit different just because this is the first time this is the start, the beginning of a new book club on the internet. And so I'm very grateful to be asked to be a co-host for the starting out. I'm also co-hosting with Eliza and Meredith over at Eliza's Bookshelves and Reading with Merb. So it's been a lot of fun reading with them, especially. They're already good friends of mine. So it's just been a lot of fun. But the live show is tomorrow. And so I have to read this whole thing. I am 84 pages in. And oh boy, howdy. I don't know how I feel or what I think. The audiobook tells me that it will take me about 3 hours to read, not 3, I wish it was 3, 6 hours to read at 2.5 speed with the audiobook. And that's doable. That's so doable. I've cleared most of my schedule to read this. I've taken a few, I've planned my day around this, but I've also made sure to have breaks in between so that I'm not just, in it for too long, you know? I'm 84 pages in. I don't love it. It's been very dense. It's been rather info dumpy. It's I don't know what's going on. I can barely wrap my head around who these characters are. I understand that Hilo is the horn. I love him, although he's questionable at best. He's not a great character so far. And then there's his girlfriend Wen. He has 2 friends. They're twins. And then maybe another one. I don't remember. And then there's his older brother who's the pillar. He is running the Green Bones, which is their gang, basically. And then there's their grandfather. They have a sister. They have a cousin who goes by Andy, but his name's actually Andon. And he's kind of where the plot is revolving around so far. Again, only 84 pages in. I couldn't tell you what this is really about. I know that there's a feud between 2 rival gangs. We are following one gang in particular. That's it. I know weird things about some of these characters, but I don't know what the plot is. I don't know what the point is. I understand that Jade is worn by those who are kind of higher up in the ranks, just who are a part of the gangs, I guess. Everybody wants to get their hands on Jade. It's a hot commodity, and it gives you special abilities. That's really all that I know, and I don't love it. But with that said, the other co-hosts have already finished this. They finished it a while ago, and all of them have given it 5 stars, I think. Meredith might have given it a 4, but I think because it's a reread for her, I think it's a 5-star. So there's also pressure of what if I don't like it? What if I'm the only one that doesn't like it? Then what? So yeah, we will see, we will see. I'm gonna start reading though, and I will probably try to check in with you guys every 100 or so pages, but right now it's so-so. I'm gonna try and keep at least Jade City as spoiler free as possible, but the rest of this vlog might get into spoiler territory. We will have to just wait and see. This is going to be a vlog spanning over 3 months rather than normal. I do these videos just within a month. This one's going to be a long-standing video. So, exciting stuff. But today is all about Jade City. I prefer reading books in like 1 or 2 sittings, so this will be the format for the videos, but I won't check in for Jade War until end of July or June. So, I'm gonna go now. Thanks for hanging out. I'll check in later. Hello, checking in. I just read for like 2-ish hours. I've added some tabs. I need to go through and like make them look better. I hate when they stick out this much, but it's going better. I still don't know if I can talk about this or explain like anything that's happening, if that makes sense. Like, a lot has happened, but nothing has happened. We've established the war between the mountains and the peaks, or the green bones, and we've established like the distaste and some of the politics, and we're including like the drug selling aspect maybe. It's interesting. I think that it started getting good. I think so. Things that I like about this, there's a few chapters that have stood out that I'm like, okay, I like this. But any chapter with like higher action, I've been really liking the action. So like, there's an assassination attempt on one of the characters, and I liked that part, and then like a bit after where you're following it, and like the political part that goes along with that, but also just like the retaliation and just like your typical gang war activity. I like that. I don't trust most of the characters. There's too many characters, I will say that. Too many characters, a lot of perspectives. It's kind of hard to like follow and keep up with. But I don't trust Doru, which is like their weatherman. He's like the businessman at the top of the ladder. Shay's character kind of annoys me. I like Hilo and his like little group of fists and fingers and how he runs his side of things. I don't mind Lan, who is the oldest brother, and he's the pillar, so he's like running the gang. I think he does a good job. He really thinks things through, which I appreciate. And it's one of those things that like there's no winning with what you do, so I like him. I wasn't expecting this to have like any steam in it. There's been a few like steamier parts, and I was like, okay, well, that's fine. But my problems, I don't feel connected to any of the characters. I think Wen might be my favorite character, and you rarely see her so far, but I'm interested in her storyline and like what's going on with her. I like Hilo, but again, he's got a few red flags, and not like the red flags that I can just easily pass by. Like, I love a morally great character. I love a villain and a bad boy, but he's just not quite doing it for me. So that's a bit of a bust as well. Yeah, it's just like a lot of politics. It's very dense. It's fine. I'm having a really hard time like getting into it. I don't feel connected to the characters. I don't really care about the politics, honestly. Like, there's nothing in this that's made me feel invested. Nothing that's made me like, obviously, like, if the assassination attempt had happened and like was successful, I would be upset, but I still wouldn't really care enough. And if during like the retaliation after that, I don't know if it would have mattered the outcomes at all. I do like Andon's character, but he's very small and I don't care about the academy stuff. Again, there's just too many characters. I don't care about anyone in particular. I don't care about this gang war. I don't care about any of it at all, which is unfortunate because, like, we're 200 pages in now. I should be more invested. I should care more about what's going to happen to these characters, but I just don't. I'm hoping it gets better. I know there's like a really big thing to come. I'm assuming someone's going to die and it's going to be really impactful based off of the reactions of my friends. But, you know, we're making waves. I'm not loving it. I don't want to be that person at a live book club live show that's the only one that's like about the book, but here we are. Anyway, I'm going to take a break from this, to be honest. I'm going to go do anything else. I'm going to clean up some of the house, do some chores, kind of take a break, refresh. Maybe I'll, like, listen to another book for a minute and just kind of get this out of my system. I've got 4 hours and 22 minutes left, so then that's when I will jump back into it, and then I'll probably take a peek at some of these extras in the back. Anyways, I'll check in later. Friends, I got to the part. So, no spoilers, but I am now at the 50% mark. I'm on chapter 33, page 281. The thing happened that all of my friends are freaking out about. I felt nothing. I feel nothing. I don't care. Oh no. I really thought the halfway in by now, like, more would be happening. I went into this thinking there would be way more action than there is, which really worries me because everyone says that the next book is even slower with even less action. This is incredibly character driven, but I'm not connected to any of the characters. I can't seem to care or mind. So this really big event just happened, and this is supposed to be like a really big turning point, and I'm hoping from here it does become more because it's like a big deal, but it didn't impact me. I didn't feel anything. I kind of saw it coming. So here's the thing. Vonda Lee, I think, is a good writer. There's a lot of quotes in here that I think are good. I think there's a lot of moments that I'm like, oh yeah. But it just doesn't go there. Like, it feels very surface level. It doesn't feel like it is saying anything. It feels very, like, flat. One example would be Andon. He is a queer character. He's gay. And it's like a queer norm type of world. Like, it's cool to be whatever. Like, it's normal. But then many chapters later, she kind of like steps back and she's like, well, yeah, being queer is like normal and totally okay and it's natural, but also, like, if you're queer, we're gonna say that the gods don't favor you, like you're disfavored by the gods. And it's like, I don't love that, and it just kind of feels like that this whole time. Like, nothing is being said. There's no impact. There are stakes, but it doesn't really feel like it. It's just, like, really underwhelming. And it's, like, really unfortunate. Like, I'm at the halfway mark, and I genuinely, like, feel like this could be a 2 stars. I'm really interested in reading reviews and discussing this because my friends love this, which makes me feel like I'm missing something. But I'm not a character-driven reader, and these characters aren't doing it for me. The politics feel, they just don't feel. I don't know. Oh, I'm not sure, but we're gonna keep going. I've got 2.5 hours left, and then I'll check in maybe when I finish. The problem with this is, like, I have thoughts, but I don't have a lot of thoughts. But it'll be very interesting to discuss this and talk in depth with my friends about it. We'll see. I don't know. Oh god. We're getting there. So I am so close. Page 442 out of 495. So I've got like 50 pages left. This book. So there's tabs of things that I like, things that I don't like. Mostly things that I like, which is maybe why they're few and far between. But there are things that I am enjoying, and there's a lot that I just don't care about. But the last 50 pages that I've read have been a bit more interesting. I really like Hilo in this person, like in this like higher up political standpoint. Like he has maybe the most character depth, but we're also, you know, with him the most. But these characters, like, although there's a lot of personality to them, there's a lot of things going on for them, they're also flat for me, which is making it really hard. But I would say like Hilo is my favorite, but like he still has his issues. And again, like I've already said that like it's just not going deep enough with them. It's not giving me enough. Like I see elements to something that could be really good with the characters specifically. I could see how they are and like the structure behind them, but it's just not giving enough of what I'm wanting from it. I hope this makes at least a little bit of sense. But since the halfway mark, there's been a lot of change in power and change in politics as like the Jade War is sort of happening, and I find that interesting, but at the same time it's just not being developed to the level that I want it to be, and I'm finding issues with like character continuity. I just don't understand all of the characters' motives and intentions and why they are the way they are, like what makes them act this way rather than a different way. Like no one's handling any real grief. It's not showing like the struggles of things. It's just kind of like, oh yep, people died, oh yep, that was lost, oh yep, we don't know what to do. And it's just repetitive. It's too long. It's not giving me enough. But I'm gonna wrap up these 50 pages. I'll tell you what I think. I'm ready for it to be over. I am excited to discuss this because I think there's a lot of fun things to talk about, but it'll be really interesting. But at the same time, like, I don't know. Eliza and I were talking earlier, and she's like, I think I might have forgotten a lot of things that happened. And I was like, not a whole lot has really happened. So, yeah, I'm really excited to discuss it. But, I just don't know, man.
Okay, initial thoughts. I loved it. 5 stars. Sam,
Meredith, what did you think of your reread? How'd it go?
I can't remember what I think I gave it 4.5 or 4 the first time, and it's a 4.5 on reread. I just want to leave a little space because I feel like they're gonna get better as they go.
I didn't.
So I'm like, I'm just gonna leave that. I'm just gonna leave that 0.5 so that like there's room to give like better ratings as I go.
Fair.
That's fair. Hopefully it gets better. I gave it a generous 3.
Oh no!
That's better than I thought. I thought you were gonna be like 2 stars.
Honestly, the first half was a definite 2-star. I was like, I don't think this is really going well for me. And then like things happened. I was like, okay, 3. I won't quite call it a 2.5. I'll call it a 3.
2.5.
Almost. It's a 3. It's fine. I tabbed it. Oh my gosh. Can you tell? Barely. I tabbed this. Hi. I read it. I did it. I did the thing. I read the whole book. Okay, microphone in my way. The live show is happening in like 20 minutes. Stop yelling at me. It's not nice. No. Hello. I hope that the fan is not too loud. It's really freaking hot in my office. I'm trying to cool it down before the live show actually happens, but I read all of Jade War, all 580, well, I did read it. I listened to the first like 20% without physically looking at it because I was doing actual job work stuff. But I read the latter half of it. So I read like almost 400 pages of this, and I listened to the audiobook the entire time. And I finished it in a single work day because I was procrastinating. But I've got 2 different colored tabs. It's impossible for you to tell. But I have like a yellowish green tone for like things that are happening, things that I like. And then I have this like bluish green simply for the moments that made me go, oh. Mostly Hilo. So I have a lot of thoughts. I don't know if I'll be able to get them all out in time before this live show actually happens, but we're going to discuss this in full length. It will be on Daphne's channel forever if you are curious and you want to know like what we all thought and what we all said. But full spoilers, obviously. This is written in a different writing style than I'm used to, and I don't know if I like it. It's very like blunt. It's not over emotional. It's not super in the characters' heads. Like you kind of feel like you are in the room with a character as it's constantly bouncing heads. Like 2 chapters, you can be in 3 different perspectives, and it's just like lightly saying like, we're moving on. I think if I didn't read this physically, I would not like it as much because it's bouncing heads so often, and the timeline is just a little bit all over the place. I've heard people talk about this before, and so I kind of knew it was gonna happen, but I don't know if I like it or not. Like, I appreciate that this book spanned over like 3 years or maybe 5, so a lot happens, but we don't have to see all of it, but it's still too long. And the way that it would happen is like 1 second Wen is like pregnant with their first kid, and then 20 pages later it feels like they have 3, like she's pregnant with the third, and then the third is there, and it just happens so fast. And there is so much pregnancy in here, there is so much children in this book that I was not expecting. I was like, we're young, we're living life, we're doing gang shit, but no, they're like full parents now. My main issue with Fonda Lee, the Greenbone Saga, is probably the fact that it never goes there. It never really says anything on a topic. Like, one character has an abortion and it is very quickly brushed over. It takes up maybe 2 pages, and that's kind of like, that's that. It is what it is. And I just feel like Fonda Lee could give us commentary on things that are happening in the world, because obviously this is heavily influenced by real life, you know, before things were what they are now, because I think this came out 2019, but obviously like it's influenced by Asian cultures, so it's not going to be the same as like my Western viewpoint of things. But I just feel like the queerness that's talked about in this and the abortion that was talked about in this, like Fonda Lee could have given commentary and given more to it. Like, those should be emotional scenes, and they're just not. Like, people die and there's no emotion to it, and like that's fine, but like a character dies towards the end and Andin just like, oh, that sucks. You've known this man for like 2 years, and he's like kind of important to your cause and helped you a lot, and like no time to like mourn that death or like feel true emotion. It just kind of feels surface level and a little flat for me. But I did like this more than the last one. This is like more of a 3.5, which means Jade Legacy might be a 4. Crazy. The ending didn't make me feel emotional. I didn't feel a lot, really. I didn't question things that were happening. It feels like hope is lost in a story like this, just constantly losing. There's no wins, there's no happiness except for the family stuff, which, like, I get it, it makes sense, whatever. But it just, like, doesn't feel like there's enough hope going into the next book. It didn't feel like there was hope going into this book. So it's just very interestingly written. But now that I'm more familiar with the characters, I did enjoy them more in this. I enjoyed seeing their decisions, seeing how the, like, politics played out. There's really nothing to spoil because it's like nothing really happens that's, like, of consequence. Like, it's just the rival gangs going back and forth, trying to outplay the other to get control, and, like, selling jade, and it's more foreign affairs in this book, and it was fine. There was more action, which I enjoyed. The 400-page range was really good and really strong, and that's when it started to get me invested more, but it still just, like, wasn't quite enough, but I liked it nonetheless. So yes, 3.5. Now we're gonna go talk about it for an hour or two, and it's gonna be great. I'm also covered in mosquito bites, and I'm dying. Hello, can you tell that it's allergy season? I feel like I look a little rough. Hello. Today is the big day. It's the big one. Oh, she's so chunky. This is 713 pages, not with the acknowledgements. So there's this much filler, which in the first book, it's like questions you can ask for discussion. Next one was the first chapter. This is the Modern Nomad Travel Guide to Jaloon, 6th edition. That's fun. Dine About magazine, Where to Eat in Jaloon. That's fun. That's a fun edition. So, she's a chunky book. I'm not nervous. I'm not scared. It's fine. So, I will be reading most of this at work. So, I actually won't be able to give as periodic updates, but the live show is in 2 days, and I would read it tomorrow when I'm home all day, but unfortunately the audiobook from the library is going away tomorrow morning, so I have to finish this today at 3 times speed as I read along, if it's not too hard to comprehend what's happening and, like, actually consume it. I could finish this in about 9.5 hours, which is a lot. This is maybe the biggest book that I've read this year, and is part of the reason why I don't like picking up big series, because this is just, that's intimidating. You know what else is intimidating? I was getting ready to start this last night, and then I actually had to run away. So you've got the maps for the world as well as the city, and then there's the characters. Isn't that so nice that we have 3 pages of characters? 3 pages. I understand that this is like legacy. It is the family being passed down, but oh my gosh. Other Fists and Fingers, Future Green Bones, Notable Lantern Men, the Mountain Clan, Minor Clans, the Clan's Future Movement, others in Take-On, in Espia, elsewhere. Like, that's a lot of characters. There's too many. There's 2 pages too many characters. But alas, this is what we're reading. Wish me luck. Thoughts going into it. I know that it spans, I think, 3 generations. I did already kind of spoil myself for the first portion. I know that Hilo is the worst, which sucks. So that's a little less fun. I don't think we're going to be much of a Hilo stan club on Thursday. I think we'll be a Hilo hate club. So there's that. You know, here's the thing. So Jade War ended at a 3-star, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was way better, because I got to get to know the characters a little bit. Like, I feel like once you know the characters, you're good. But there's going to be so many more characters and new family members that I don't know or have much of a connection to. And Fonda Lee is making me hate the characters that I do like. So what am I going to enjoy in this? I don't like the politics that much. It's interesting enough, but it's not enough to like write 700 pages, unless they're going to like clan war. I don't know. I was really excited for it when I finished Jade War. I was like, yeah, Jade Legacy is gonna be the one for me because they've been getting better each book. And now time has passed and I just don't want to. I don't know if it's the intimidation or what, but Eliza and Meredith have completed this like 2 weeks ago, and they both really enjoyed it. I think they both cried. I know Daphne's cried, so I don't think I'll cry. I'll keep you informed if that happens, of course, but I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. Hi, I promise you I have not been sat here all day, as much as I wish that was the case. I have actually read, I'm 55%. Oh my god, this book is too long. This book is way too long. I get it. Unnecessary. We could have wrapped this up by now. I am 395 pages in to a 713 page book. But it feels good to like hold a book this chunky and say like, look at that progress I've made. I think I still have like 5 or 6 hours to go, and I have to finish it before 9 a.m. tomorrow. So it's going really good. But let's talk about it. Let's talk about my halfway thoughts. I took notes so that I had some things to say. Here's the thing. Sam, what's it about? Well, it's a continuation of the series. So I don't want to like be repetitive, and I don't really know how to talk about this. Even if like I was like going in on the spoilers, like I still don't know how to talk about this because it's just characters and politics. Crazy. I know. It's the same politics that have been happening the last 2 books, so it doesn't really feel new or special and exciting. The characters feel the same, like they haven't changed at all. Like there's been very little character development, besides maybe Wen and Andin. They've changed. This mostly focuses like just the clan politics. There's so much politics. It's all politics. That's all this is. It's just a big book of politics, and then like politics. There's nothing really going on. It starts out very politics heavy, so like everybody's making moves. Barrow is our first chapter, and he's been making moves. Even though he still has 0 influence on things, he's still like the cause of many things, and so he's making moves, but not really. He's just a part of the moves being made. He's a pawn in the chess game. But we've got the same politics of the No Peaks versus the Mountains, trying to gain outside influence with the foreigners and have control of the SN1 drug as well as the jade trade, and they're working with other cultures and other green bones. So like that's the big thing. Like they still hate each other, they're still against each other. It's just politics, baby. There's nothing more to give you. It's just politics, baby. I would say around the 250-ish page mark, which I know we're jumping ahead, that is when shit starts hitting the fan. The things start getting real wild real fast, because there's actually an assassin attempt on both pillars, because there's in this, not quite Barrow, but kind of him, there's a no clan movement happening, and they're trying to make like the clanless version of the worlds where like neither Mountains or the No Peaks have any status or say in what's going on, and can no longer influence politics. And so there's them butting heads and fighting on top of this movement slowly getting more recognition and a really intense assassination attempt. Spoiler, it does fail, which I don't know, kind of feels like, I understand that it happened so early on, but since this is supposed to span, like, generational, it's a little bit annoying that Fonda Lee has so much filler that's, like, not doing anything for the plot. Like, yes, you're getting more character development, so if you like, it's not really development, you're just getting more character interaction. So if you really like the characters, you're obviously going to have a good time with this because you get to spend more time with them. But for me, someone who's like so on the characters, it's kind of repetitive. It's the same story as Jade War and Jade Legacy. Like, the same politics are happening. You still feel like there's not as much hope. Like, you still think that Ait is far superior when it comes to running politics and, like, playing the game. But it just feels very same. In this, we are following mostly Hilo and Shay. Shay eventually gets a partner, has a kid. Hilo's kids and Lan's son are, like, aging. I'm at the point where Nico, which is Lan's son, he is like 20 and has made a very big decision that people are not happy with. And so there's that tension going on with the family, but it's felt very Jade City 2.0 because Nico is basically Andon. And I understand, like, the comparison. I understand the conversation of, like, well, this is what Lan would want. Like, he would handle it better, and just because of how he is, like, I get it. I really liked how the book started with heavy action, and then it lulls, but I thought the politics were interesting, and then it went to, like, just straight character conversations, and then 250 pages in, we get the assassination attempt, and there's action again, and then now it's just been characters this entire time. There's been no real political advances. Nothing's really been changing. It feels very stagnant, which is unfortunate because we still have so long to go that I'm just like, okay, but why? What is the point? My other biggest complaint is that there are some chapters that start with the timeline. So this says the 20th year, 2nd month, which is great. But then some chapters, it's like 6 years ago, and I'm like, what is happening? I'm still so confused on the timeline and where we are at. It's so much better. I appreciate for what it is and how it has helped me a lot, but I still feel like in the chapters it's like 6 years ago, 9 years ago, and I'm like, what is happening? And it's just, I wish every single chapter told me the year and the month. Even if it's the same, I don't care. My little brain needs that clarification for the timeline. It's so hard. But yeah, that's basically the thoughts. I like the balance of politics and action at the beginning. Now it feels like I'm in a bit of a lull with it, and I'm excited to continue. I put this down 2.5 hours ago. I came home, I had dinner, I took a nap, and I don't want to pick it up. I don't care. I don't want to read it. And it sucks. Like, whilst I was reading, I was having a good time. It feels very 3-star still. But I was enjoying it. I like these characters. I've definitely gotten to know them better. I still have my ranking of, like, favorites to least favorite. Fonda Lee really said, let's make Hilo so complicated so you don't know if you're gonna love or hate him. I think I still love him. I know that he is bad. He sucks. But I still kind of like him. So that's not great. Another cool thing, I really like Andon's character because he's making really big progress in the advancement of jade and medicine and using his jade abilities and control to help the medical field. I think that's really interesting, and I'm really intrigued to see where that storyline potentially could go. I think it's done, if we're being completely honest. Like, I feel like they've exhausted any future avenues, but I did really like that part. I don't care about Nico. He's annoying. I don't like him. I don't care what he decides to do. I really like Rue, though, which is Wen and Hilo's biological son, who is also a stone eye, so he can't control jade. So he has different upraising from his sister. But I like him as a character. I think he's quite interesting. We haven't seen Jaya, like, literally at all. Like, she's been in maybe 2 scenes growing up. And I feel like she's underutilized. I feel like we could see more of her because she could have good influence. Like, women obviously in the story are not just like dismissing as like Wen and Shay. Oh yeah, Wen becomes like the pillarman and Shay is the weatherman. So like they clearly have high status, so it's weird that Fond du Lai's just like giving her no screen time. Maybe that'll change as we continue on, because obviously like there's a lot to go. Oh my god, there's so much sex. There's so many icks in this book. I feel icky while reading it half the time. But there's a lot of sex. There's a lot of cheating and just like unfaithfulness. Shay is a homewrecker, but I also like ship that relationship, so I'm not too mad about it. And Kaya, the ex-wife, you know what? Good for her. She's cool. I appreciate her character. She takes no shit, and I love that for her. Hilo's also unfaithful, and I love Wen with my whole heart, but I'm also kind of happy that like they're together and now they're getting better and like progress. I know it was shitty for a time, but like Tar also fucking sucks. I'm glad that the decisions with him happened, but like still bad. Could have died. It would have been okay. Here's the thing. A lot has happened. I've felt no emotions about anybody. Yeah, I really like Andon. That's the thoughts. Wen and Andon, I really enjoy them. I'm at the point in this book where they're all around the age of 40, and we've learned that Ait is like in her 50s. In a few years she'll be 60, which means there's about a maybe maximum 10 years age difference between Shay and Ait. Like, they could be together. Like that could have happened. There was a moment where they like share a glance, and I was like, why didn't this happen? Why? I don't get it. Fond du Lai doesn't love me, and I think that's rude. But yeah, everyone's growing up. This was a very long update, and I feel like I've said nothing. But hey, I'm gonna read this now. We're gonna get it done. I'll probably check you in. I'll probably check in with you when I'm done. Unless like I have true thoughts along the way. But I've just felt stagnant this whole time. What a long day though of reading this book. That's for sure. Alright, wish me luck. This just in. Jaya's my favorite. Who would have thought? She's so fun. And she's love her. I love her. Why is it every character that I like dies? This is the one time I liked Tar so much. I was like, Tar is great. He's so good. You can tell like my tabs started pretty strong, died for a while, getting strong again. Most of them are Hilo related in some way, shape, or form. Things like, I'm thankful you're not a fist, Andy. I need, Hilo's voice faltered, I need one of my brothers to live. That is so sweet. I wish Tar didn't have to die. He's doing good in exile. He's fine. Alright. Look at me go. Oh my god. You know, I hate reading big books. But there's just something so satisfying to say that I've read this much today. And I now only have 200 pages to go. Like this, that's satisfying. That feels so good. So obviously more shit has happened, but something really positive that I want to say about this book. Like, I know that I wouldn't say that I shit on these, because I definitely see the appeal and I don't dislike them, but I don't love them like most people do. But something I really like about them is the setup for the entire series. So Jade City is all about Kekon, where they live. And then from Jade City to Jade War, you see two other neighboring nations. And now in Jade Legacy, you're basically seeing the entire world. And I really like that exploration of like building to the world, building in what would normally be fantasy, like the magic system, like starting small and then by the third book growing really big. I really appreciate that, and I really love that. We've gotten to, you can tell, I don't know how easy it is to see. Oh, there you go. You can tell the two parts of the story where I'm like very invested, and then like the rest that I'm just like whatever about. But we've gotten to the point of kidnapping and a business trip gone awry with our leading ladies. And now Hilo is like, haha, gotta befriend the enemy to save my sister. Which, you know, that's fun. Sorry. But, you know, like, that's fun. That's super exciting. I really like the side characters, if we're being completely frank. Like, the side characters make the story for me, which is so funny. Like, I don't really care about what happens to Hilo and Shay. I kind of care about what happens to Andon and Wen, but, like, also, if they died, I'd be like, oh, that sucks. That's part of the story, though. But, like, when the side characters die, like Wen's bodyguards or Wen's brother, basically any character that's attached to Wen in some way, those ones hurt a little bit. Those ones make me a little sad. Those ones kind of suck. But everything else, I'm like, just whatever. But I'm having a good time still. I'm still enjoying the experience. I just don't love it as much. But you know what? 200 pages to go. That's really exciting for me. It's like probably 2 hours left, so I'll probably be up until midnight finishing this, but at least it's so satisfying, right? So fun. So satisfying. It's cool. So, I finished this at like, I want to say 1:30 last night, so it's time to wrap this up. You can tell the moments where I was enjoying the story. There's a pretty chunky lull here in the middle where I just didn't care, and nothing was grasping my attention. I didn't care what was going to happen. I will say I really liked how this ended, how it concluded. I think the last time we talked, I was telling you guys how there was the final assassination attempt. The clans were coming together for a kind of truce, a friendship, and there was going to be one final attempt on the pillars and basically the future of the clans. And so that leads to Hilo's death. Everybody else survived, luckily. Everything was fine by the end for, well, everyone but Hilo. But I felt like his death, although sad, it was meaningful and had purpose, and I'm glad that it happened the way that it did. It almost made me get teary-eyed. I didn't cry. I didn't quite cry, but it could have happened. Like, if I was just a little bit more attached, I think it could have happened. This is my favorite of the series, but once it wasn't even like Hilo dying that I didn't care. It was the people coming to pay their respects, to celebrate his life together whilst he's dying, chanting for him and for the No Peak clan. That was like a really sweet moment, and that was really touching for me, and I enjoyed that. I liked how Nico has handed clan affairs, and I think that him being the pillar was like the best decision, and I just think it ended on a much more positive and high note. Funny enough, I did fall asleep right before like things really started to happen. I did fall asleep for like 10 minutes, and I didn't feel the need to go back because all that was happening was just them going through each of Ait's plans for the mountain and like her basically world domination, and just like slowly ticking off those possibilities, which I think was done well. It got repetitive and boring, and I didn't care to see like specifically how they were going to do it. I feel like it could have been this could have just been shorter. Basically, that's like the big gist of this book, is like it did not need to be this long, and so that definitely like ruins the enjoyment, because some of it just felt repetitive. Some of it felt like stuff that already happened in Jade City or happened in Jade War, and like I understand the comparison. One thing, I guess, to conclude my thoughts for Jade Legacy, I really enjoyed the legacy portion. I liked being with the next generation and seeing how they differ from their family or are very similar to their family. I really wish we had more of Jaya in the book, because I really liked her character, because she was so much like Hilo. And Rue was the other death that I was pretty upset about. I was like, dang it, he was so good, he was the future. And he didn't get a very like satisfying end, so that also was like but I like the way that Nico came back into the story and had a very like Andon type of moment. But I like the next generation to see how similar and different they were to their parents and to just like the culture in general, and like that shift in tradition and getting hip with the times and like modernizing. But I did really enjoy that aspect of them showing how they're different, how things don't always have to be the same, and how Hilo had so much growth and development. I really appreciated that. I honestly don't think we had enough of Shay in this. Like, she didn't feel as big of a part, even though like she is the reason that anything decent happened. Like, she is the backbone of No Peak. And so I was a little bummed to not see her quite as often. I just feel like the women are not utilized enough in this series. Like, Wen definitely was in it more, and she like becomes the pillar woman, I guess, but still doesn't have like much influence. Like, she's focused more on like the movie scene, which is fine, but I really wish that like just in general the women in this story had a bigger impact and like more screen time, if you will, because Hilo's mom survives through it all. Like, she's 85 at the end. Like, she's been through it and we barely see her, and that's just like not fair to her. But that's the series. That's complete. We did it. We done did it. I did it, guys. I read so many pages. What the heck? I think at some point I'm gonna go through and change my tabbing system so that it matches the cover, because initially I was gonna make all of them green to like fit the Jade vibes, but then I ended up going blue, so now I need to go back and redo my tabs so that this is red. But I have gone through and I've read the entire Green Bone saga. I have done and did it. Thank you so much, Daphne, for this push. Honestly, this is like one of those book series that sits on your TBR forever, but you just never really get around to, because they're so chunky and there's so much hype around them that it's really scary being like the one person that's like, they were good, but they weren't my favorite. I didn't cry at any of these. I didn't feel as connected to the characters in the world, and I did enjoy the politics. I don't know if urban fantasy is really going to be for me. Definitely something I want to explore, but I didn't have the same impact as my co-hosts who loved these, so I definitely recommend coming to the live show if you've seen these to hang out and chat with us, and like, or I guess go back and watch them to see what we all thought, because they loved them. And I was like, this was like a 2-star, but I gave it a 3, 2.5, generous 3 on Goodreads. Jade War was a solid 3, and Jade Legacy is a 4. Wow. So definitely growth. I definitely think that this is a really good way to end this trilogy, end the saga. I had fun with them. I definitely recommend reading books with your friends. It just like adds to the experience. And even if you don't like the book, seeing your friends like a book or hating on it together is also fun. But like seeing their reactions and how much they love it and how they feel about it is such a beautiful experience. Like, Meredith's thoughts on Jade Legacy made me more emotional and made me care. Everything that they've said about these 2 books especially, I was like, man, I wanted to like the book like you guys. But I think it led for a lot of fun discussions. But again, thank you so much, Daphne, for inviting me. I will leave I will leave my co-hosts as well, Meredith and Eliza's channels down in the description, so you guys can go follow them, see what they're up to. This was a lot of fun. I'm so excited to see where Daphne goes with her book club from here. This was just such a fun journey, and what an accomplishment to say that I've read all of these. And not only did I read all of these, but I read all of these in 3 days. if you really break it down, because I read this one all of yesterday. I started about 10 a.m. and I finished around 1:30. And then I read this one day before the live show, and I also read all of Jade City before the live show. This is probably closer, what was this, 500 pages? Yeah, this is a lot for me. Like, I don't read chunky books, so to say that I read all of these chunky books in a day, thank you audiobooks, thank you Libby, you are the true hero. I feel very accomplished. I feel like I could run the world at this point. I could read anything. So I think this now marks my chunkiest physical book read. This is my biggest accomplishment in reading so far. I am currently working on my other big accomplishment, but different, very different. So that's really exciting for me. I had a lot of fun on this journey. I hope that you did as well. Did you participate? Have you already read these? I know that these are some of my friends' favorite books ever, and so I know that, like, me coming on the internet to be like, the first two were all right, but I really like the third one, might not go over as well. But I know that a lot of people, I know a lot of people have read these and really enjoy them, so I definitely recommend them to people, but definitely be prepared for, like, high politics, urban fantasy, low magic, and just, like, complete clan gang shit. Like, if you don't want villains, morally gray villains, skip it. You're not gonna like the characters. They are villains, and I love them for that. I am a Hilo stan through and through. I loved him from the beginning, and I loved him till the very, very end. I really like his character. He had the most character development, the most just depth in general, and I really appreciated that. So thank you for joining me on this journey. I hope that you had as much fun as I did. Thank you again, Daphne. I cannot thank you enough. This was so much fun. I'm so excited. The live show has actually not happened. It's going to be happening tomorrow, so I'm excited to discuss. I really hope that all four of us can be there together to really, like, enjoy this final moment we have. I'm so excited to see where the book club goes from here and what's in store for Daphne, but yep, I did it. We did it. I did it. Congrats. Thanks to anyone who ended up joining us. I appreciate everyone who stopped into live to chat with us about it. It's just been so much fun. So I'm glad that I got to vlog the experience. I'm also glad to say that it's over. I'm ready to move on to the next series, whatever that may be. If you want more spoilery themed reading vlogs where I just read one whole series with spoilers, let me know in the comments if there's any, like, particular ones that you're interested in. I think that this is such a fun way to read books and series, even though this spanned over 3 months. It was a lot of fun. So if you have any ideas, leave them down below. If not, just let me know if you've read these or if they're on your TBR or how your day is going. But until next time, I will see you guys very soon in my next video. Bye!